welcome to another indie film cafe. What is it? Short review Saturday?
Short Film Saturday.
Short film Saturday. Short
You
something.
you did it the first time. You got it
I
right
know.
last time, but you're good. All right,
One of these days.
maybe.
Anyway, I can't help it because I'm just one of those strange ones. And as a matter of fact,
I hope you're not one of the strange ones that they're talking about in
we're
this movie.
watching a movie called The Strange Ones, which might be from 1957 and it might be from 1963. We don't know because it was a strange one.
Might be 1954, eight.
Who
Who
the heck
knows?
knows?
Who
But
knows?
it's one of those stranger danger PSAs from none other than Sid Davis, who produced a whole slew of them from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. His calling card is that they tend to be, over dramatic kiddie things that you might have seen. If you grew up in the 70s or 60s and probably 50s, you saw these things in school all the time. And it's just one of those things where you're not supposed to, mess around with strangers, but rather than just film something for 2 minutes telling you don't mess around with strangers, they have to make this big, huge, long production out of it. And it's just weird. And,
So you said this is sort of a PSA, I guess educational short is what I read.
right, right.
And so, generally speaking, I've seen enough PSAs because you've showed me enough PSAs
Oh, yeah.
that usually it's Billy doesn't know how to scrub himself, so the soap is going to teach Billy how to scrub
Right. Usually
himself.
there's a puppet involved or something comes to life that
Yeah,
shouldn't
or
come
the
to life.
chalk comes to life and starts
Yeah.
talking or whatever.
This is a little bit more serious, I guess, but
And
it's
this was very serious.
kind of over dramatic. That's the thing.
And I didn't know this was a PSA. I thought it was a short film, like short film, like a regular short film, dramatic short film. But this was a PSA. So there's a lot of somebody talking over everything,
Right. Because
including other people talking.
it's cheaper to do that back then because then you didn't have to worry about sound for anybody. You could just walk around with your Bolex and film everyone, and you'll just loop somebody talking about it later. Cheap,
I'm
cheap, cheap,
surprised
cheap.
people don't do that still to this day. I mean, why not?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shoot something on your iPhone, then later on just dub over it with your garage band, you
I'm
know.
looking at you, BC-14.
Well, I mean, his stuff's all animated nowadays anyway, but
No, no. But
Um,
anyway, yeah, so this is Karen, little bitty Karen, 8 years old, who goes to the candy store and she lets some sleaze bag take her because, he bought her a candy bar and she gets into the car like a dumbass. But the lady, the
I
hunk
mean, you don't know. We don't know the whole thing because we didn't hear the
yeah,
conversation. He
I'm
might
just
have been like,
assuming.
"I've got a whole I work at the chocolate store. I could get you more
Let me
chocolate."
show you my Snickers bar there, little chickie poo.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
But
mean,
anyway,
you don't know the whole story, but you know that she somehow gets convinced to go with this
yeah,
guy.
she's
And
dumb.
however, this woman that watches
Dumbass kid.
like
Yeah, the
figured
lady
out
counter
something was
girl
wrong and
narcs on her, calls the
mm,
cops and says, I
good.
stole
Is
a
that
strange one.
narking when it's trying to save a girl's life?
And here's his fucking, license plate number because she's that much of a micromanager. She goes outside and I wonder what he's driving and feeds all that information to the cops. And the cops are sending it all over the place, because this was made in cooperation with the Culver City Police Department. So, they don't have any OJ
I bet
Simpsons to
if those were real
chase.
police officers that
I'm
they,
sure, sure. And that. So yeah, again, it's cheap because they got to use their shit. You don't have to worry about renting it. So it's
Yep,
these
and
kind of
I
things are
guarantee you they just
cheap.
said, "Okay, just go pretend to arrest this guy," because I hope it was a pretend arrest. Hope
It
this was an
fucking
all
broke his
actual caught
ass.
on video or caught
It
on.
broke his ass, man. They make him pull over. He gets out of the car and they just slam him up there and throw the cuffs right on him.
Yep. And I don't see them reading his rights. They just threw him in the car and then took him to the police station and then rescued the little girl, who we didn't know. That could have been her dad. That could have been
That would have
somebody
been funny.
she,
That's my
yeah,
dad.
that's
You
my
know,
dad. Oh shit. Oops, we
this
got the wrong
candy
information.
candy counter woman got it all fucked up.
Yeah. She misread the whole situation.
Nah, that could
Um,
happen.
Or he could have just said that, "Hey, I'm this girl's old dad. I don't know what you're doing." And they might be like, "Oh, shit, sorry." Like that would normally happen probably,
Right,
like, "What are you
right.
doing? This is my
But
kid."
so there's that, and then they show a bunch of other situations that, as a kid you should avoid, which is true. And it's mostly like creepers putting their hands all over and touching them or sitting next to them or,
Or
just
randomly
going up
asking them
and,
to go places with them
yeah,
when,
and
like,
having
"Hey, where's
dumbass
the
kids going,
direction to this
"Shield."
place? Would you mind showing me?" And I'm so glad like something like this is actually out there. Something like this should be shown to kids even today, because the problem is they'd have to update this to be
Oh, you think?
color and whatnot. But an interesting thing, this should be shown at schools because there are more creepers now than I bet there were back then. You know,
I don't know about that. They're just, we're because of the way social media is and the news, they're just out in the open more.
right. So yeah, so like this one kid is walking by this man, and the man says, "Hey, do you know where this is?" And they say, "Oh yeah, you go this way." And I thought because she turned her back on the guy that he was just gonna grab her, which
Mm.
normally would happen generally. And then she gives the directions, and he goes, "Well, would you, mind showing me?" And she says, "No, I can't do that," or whatever, walks away, which is what you're supposed to do. And I like
Well,
that,
and
you
it did
know?
show like that one kid, the kid who was skipping, traipsing through the alley, and then some creepy guys, opens up the door and he's like, "Come here, come here, come here," and dumbass kid's like, "Oh, okay," and he goes over there and the guy just grabs him and shuts the door, and it's like,
Mm,
holy shit! It's like that scene from Texas Chainsaw Massacre where she grabs the chick and slams the door.
yeah,
It's
where
like,
like fucking Leatherface, you know,
exactly,
he's a pre-Leatherface. Holy crap.
yeah.
The other one that we were like, holy crap, is the little girl just starts walking off with this guy, and then the friends went and told the mom, and the mom comes out looking for her daughter, and the guy just starts running
Like,
off.
oh.
Which, I mean, sadly, this stuff like feels real,
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
feels like shit that happens. Or as you say, you didn't like the touching, like the guy who just randomly goes and touches the girl in the movie theater. Like, who the fuck does that? That's just really creepy and
Right,
weird. And
right. Well, the thing is that children don't learn about, personal space and the bubble that you have to have between people for it to not be creepy. They just, little kids will just climb all over you because they don't know any better. They have to
yeah,
learn. They have to learn not to do that.
like yeah. I mean, I remember as a kid, I would just walk into people's houses, that I didn't know, and
Right.
say, "Hi, I'm your new neighbor." And like nowadays, that's just really,
Dude, you're lucky you didn't end up in an oven somewhere.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
I had great neighbors apparently, but I could have been like fucking Hansel and Gretel.
Hey man, you could have been one of the strange ones. You don't know.
I I thankfully I don't think either of us are that kind of strange
Well,
ones
it's
or
funny because
sociopaths.
she's explaining. She goes, "Oh, these are people that are sick, not sick like they have the cold or the measles, but they're mentally ill." I'm
I
like,
know. Well, she doesn't say it like that, but it feels like she said it like that because
yeah, yeah.
it
And I'm
was like
like, well,
very
it's not really. I mean, it is kind of mentally, but it's not. There's more to it than that.
well,
A lot-
because back in the 50s or 60s, whenever this was made, I think 50s, they didn't they didn't really even understand what pedophilia was necessarily. They just knew that there were these really sick, really twisted, really fucked up people who went around and did stuff like this, and there must be something wrong with their brain. But there's those people like the NAMBLA people who actually believe like what they're doing is love and everything, and that's a mental illness right there. That if you actually believe that you're doing good things, you're not just fucking up some kids, scarring some kid's future, like it's just fucked up. I don't know.
right,
I
right, right. Yeah.
And
They still knew a lot back then. It's just the approach is very different then than it is now. But
nowadays you
a
have
lot
to
of that,
warn people about being on Facebook and stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah. But I mean, a lot of that stuff, I mean, it can be, I don't want to say cured, but it can be at least, dealt with medication, with,
is there medication on
psychiatry.
somebody's brain not being a child molester?
I mean, yeah, there are things that can be done. It's just that if they don't get it, if they just are allowed to go off and do whatever they're going to do, then what are you going to do? And then part of it too is that a lot of them are psychopathic or sociopathic, so they don't have things like guilt, they don't have things like feelings. It doesn't bother them when somebody is getting hurt because there's no frame of reference to them. So yeah, they're brain damaged in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some that they just don't care. They just want to fulfill their own pleasure and they don't care how they do it. You know.
Right. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that shit. I mean, there are people in the film business who do really fucked up shit with
Yeah.
kids and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just a matter of like making kids aware that this is what you do in a situation when you have
Right. Right.
a strange one, as they said, because I like that. I like that they call them the strange ones because, like, they're not just gonna go, "Oh, this guy's a pedophile," because at least they have got sort of a name for it that
Child molester.
kids can understand, you know?
Right, right. And like I said, there's another one that goes there, and it's not just, creepy guy putting his hands on someone. This is a guy that steals two little girls and then they end up floating face down in a pond
Oof.
because he doesn't just, yeah,
And that
molest
was
them.
another
He,
Sid Davis one.
he murders them. I don't remember if it's Sid Davis, but it's another one that's around the early 60s. And I just remember being, holy fucking shit, that went really dark. Some of those things are really dark. I don't know if you ever saw, I mean, I kind of grew up at the tail end of that shit, but I remember seeing one of those, car accident videos with the blood and guts and shit, and, you
I
know,
never that was never
kids
shown to me.
kids who put their arms out the bus window, and one of them got the arm cut off
I'm
because it
aware
hit a
that they
sign.
exist, but
Yeah,
that was never like as a kid.
yeah,
That would have been too graphic for
that was
our
considered
schools.
bad to show to kids by the time you were a kid, but I
Yeah,
caught the
by
tail
that
end of
time they sort of knew don't do this, don't show this
it.
stuff because
Traumatizing kids are like,
yeah,
holy shit.
yeah, those kids don't become hippies, those become like probably fucked up individuals.
They become strange ones.
Hopefully not strange ones. Hopefully not.
Well,
I
I never thought about that till you showed me that movie.
never thought about killing that poor kid until
Uh,
you showed me
but
the
you
movie
never
about the
know.
kid
There's
killing that poor kid.
that one weird Christian puppeteer guy who was doing stuff for 20 years, and it turned out he was doing all this shady shit on the internet where he was doing, he had all the graphic kitty sex videos, and then he wanted to kill one and eat one and see what that was like, and just real gruesome Greek shit. And so when they threw him in jail, they gave him like the maximum because they said, your shit was so disturbing that we don't know what we, for your own good and everybody else's good, we're just going to put you away so that you don't harm anybody. You know, just crazy. There's all kinds of fucked up people out there.
There
Yeah.
are
And that's the biggest difference between now and then. Then you just had to worry about them floating around. I mean, kids don't go running around, cities on, unobserved or, alone nowadays. The real problem today is the internet.
right.
You know what I mean? Because it's anonymous and you can do all kinds of stuff and get away with all kinds of stuff.
I was watching Degrassi, the Next Generation, the TV show about kids, or whatever. And the pilot episode was about stranger danger. It was about a person doing that. And I thought, wow, that's like that's Canada for you. Like they'll actually go there, and show shit that I think America would never show. But it's a good warning for kids. Like, you can email from somebody claiming to be another teenager, you better be careful. You better go with your mom to meet that person because it may not be.
And
They
there
might
are
be someone else.
movies that have done that effectively. Megan is Missing is probably the most famous one to do that, and that's a real rough graphic film. I don't know that most people really want to see that one.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing is like people probably don't want to see a lot of this stuff because it's truthful to what probably happens and shit, and that's scary. Nobody like really wants to put up with that, I can
Right.
see that shit.
But to go to your point about updating it, I think today would be more
Oh shit.
following or dealing with people you don't even know because you don't know who the hell these people are. They could be anybody. They're not there to touch you physically. They can lead you in someplace, and I don't know. It's just bad, 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 bad.
All right.
So anyway, I thought we'd do this one as a fun little video.
We lost you for a second, but I could hear you. I just couldn't like you were kind of moving
Oh,
around, like whatever. But hey, that feels like this movie, so it's all good. It worked. It works out
there
to
you
its
go.
advantage. All right. Thank you so much for showing me this because I probably never would have watched this on my own. So
Well, and I got a bunch of PSA ones. The wackier ones I like to save for any film cafe and show people like Lenore
when
or
you're
teach
doing like
them.
when it's when one thing's too short or
Yeah,
something,
exactly. So
yeah, I
the
get it.
wackier ones I save for that.
Well, there you go. So, if you guys like this stuff, let us know. Go check out the strange ones. It'll say like 65 or 63 or something, or
Up
whatever.
there.
We don't know. We don't know when it is. So,
It says 63, but in a movie database says 57, and somebody else reviewed and said, oh, 50X,
50 something, so
1950X.
yep. So there you go. So we don't know. We don't know when it was. It could have been 1960X. We don't have a clue. So,
Yeah, yeah. All right.
but
Well, thank you,
until
and we'll do more of Sid Davis because he does a bunch of them.
And the next month you'll see us back in the studio again. So we will be back once again in September. So until then, everybody, hope you enjoyed it.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.